isn't it about time for somebody's favorite radio program?
Holy Testicle Tuesday
was the most important day of your life. But for me, it was Tuesday.
Oh, look at it roll. Now we can watch Jackie Gleason while we eat.
My studio series Hot Rod here, and he looks like the character from Transformers the movie. And when he transforms, he folds down into like the cards. Like, they look great. These are some of the best looking bots.
You know, it's a hard life being an Autobot. People always put their hands on you, trying to transform you, bending you over like this. Cover my receptor, Perceptor. Yeah.
Oh my.
Welcome to hell.
Okay, I would say if nothing else, every movie would be made better with just having the roided out, like uber buff, like Asian henchman. You just want to see him show up in movies. Like, I want to see him just randomly pop up and driving Miss Daisy.
Daisy, she's not that all that bad. Just a little lonely and wrinkled up. But I understand her, and I knows how to make her happy. Because I gives her just what she needs. Why do Miss Daisy? Coming to a theater near you.
Hey, you guys!
Ha-ha! Showtime!
Greetings and salutations, everyone. I hope you're all doing well out there and staying warm during our wonderful winter. But Tuesdays are special because we get to come together and talk hard. And yeah, if you didn't catch us last week, you might want to go back and catch at least the Bolo section, which will be, I guess, some new legacy for the old Talk Hard family. So yeah, Ironcaster, I felt it was best to make sure we gave people some context and included your wish. Let your wish come true, my friend.
I love it. No, everything would do better with Bolo.
It is indeed. The Bolo verse will continue to grow, and we'll do our part around here. So with that, SQUEEKA Mouse, how are you, lady? What's going on?
Doing all right. Surviving the cold, trying to not get sick. I agree. I think we should have had Bolo be the pure evil in this movie.
Yeah, we might have to figure that out. Get a little clip done there for that. But yeah, Bolo stuff is born, and yeah, I agree, Ironcaster. It was a blast that I found that little snippet to throw him in, and we'll keep seeing what we can find for him. So yeah,
We're glad to be back with you guys today, man. This is awesome.
It's awesome. That's awesome. So yeah, we'll be talking about Time Bandits tonight, folks. That's right, the middle film in what is affectionately by fans called the Trilogy of Imagination. So Brazil, then this one, and then we had already talked about the Adventures of Baron Munchausen. Some folks are really big fans of this, similar to the the old Shaun of the Dead and Hot Fuzz, all that kind of stuff. So it's just these fans have kind of glommed onto it in their own little way. It has its own little sort of cult following for sure. Don't remember seeing this in theaters when I was young because I was 81. So it would have been a little bit young for me to have seen this in theaters. So I think it would have came out in the summer right around my birthday. So I would have turned 11. But I don't remember seeing it in a theater. Saw it on VHS a little while after that. So yeah, crazy, fun movie. Definitely a lot to talk about and kind of what it feels like. It's a little different than I kind of expected whenever we did the rewatch. So
was this the second one or the first one? Because I thought I read somewhere that Brazil was the second.
Make sure, did I say it out of order? I think I said it out of order. That you're absolutely right, because Brazil would have been next.
Yeah, like he called it his like imagination series or something like that.
Right. Yeah, you're right. 100%. Yeah.
As I understand it, they've kind of gone on to take on this life of this trilogy of the imagination of a person's life. Time Bandits is the childhood adventure, whereas Brazil would be for the more adults, and then Baron Munchausen tail ends it with the end of one's life.
The seniors, yeah. I think that it's also one of these things where I'm not sure how much of that is even intended, that he did it on purpose, as much as it is kind of how people have seen it, or it is kind of a manifestation of Terry Gilliam's life himself, of how he's progressing through life and different experiences with he and his family and passing of his dad, those kinds of things. But it is definitely interesting. I have no context of the Time Bandits TV series, which I also saw exists. I don't know much about it. Not really interested in diving into some of the modern adaptations of stuff unless I hear otherwise. Just one Time Bandits for me. I'm good. But it's a fun little kids movie, and I was saddened that the missus was sort of kind of mad on watching it with me. So I don't really have a Mrs. Pops angle on this one. So sorry, folks, on that one. But she's very excited about next week because we're talking about Never Ending Story. So she can watch that anytime. So we'll see.
Oh my gosh. This was a first watch for Beard. And he's like, is this what happens to you when you watch movies for the first time? He's like, because I have no idea what's going on. This is absolutely wild. And what is next? And I was like, yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Well, that's great. I'm glad it flipped it on its head a little bit there, and you kind of had the upper hand on the old Beard and try to give him a little bit of a. And this is a weird movie, so by
That's
a lot
what
of
he
love,
said,
yeah. It's like this is a weird movie, so it's not like just a standard linear story to kind of get your head around. This is a strange, weird kind of. I mean, IRONCASTER, they don't really even kind of explain a lot of stuff, right? Just kind of stuff that happens.
Well, I mean, it's ultimately like talking to a kid where just the train of imagination is just so jump on, jump off that there's almost a nonsense to it all that this kind of perfectly mirrors in that way.
I agree. Well, because if you've ever watched kids play, I mean, because we know I work with little kids, like this is exactly how they play. Like one moment it's this stuff, and then the next moment it's this stuff. So like my brain could follow the movie just easy. I was like, oh, I'm ready for the next adventure. Let's go. But yeah, it's exactly right. It's just it's very kid perspective.
Yeah, I agree. It's fun. And I had the grandkids here, but I didn't watch it with them. It just didn't work out for that. But it is definitely the sort of stream of consciousness through the lens of a child. Felt that for sure. So, well, let's say hello to this wonderful chat. Up first, Comic Relief Potato. That's right. Mike's here. Great to see you, man. Yo, Pop. Yeah, hey, man. Great to see you, man. Snorty holding the door open for everybody there. Great to see you, Snorty. Hope you're doing great. You wonderful, sexy polar bear, you. Oh, such a great line. Yeah. Oh, Benson. Oh, dear Benson. You are so mercifully free of the ravages of intelligence. So fun. This wonderful lady is in the house there, saying hello to everybody. Fred's house said, I think that this movie was the first time travel movie where the main protagonist is a youngster, because if you look at the old classic movies like Time Machine, they were involved adults. Oh, interesting point. I don't really ever thought of it that way. So, yeah, interesting point, Fred. Yeah. Very interesting. Yeah. Penny is here. Great to see Penny as well. And then, yeah, sort of weird one. Yeah, it's a weird one. So, Fred's also saying, I don't know if you ever watched it, but there is a teleplay from a series Desi Arnaz had watched called Playhouse called Time Element, where man travels to infamous Pearl Harbor incident. No idea at all about that. So interesting. None whatsoever. So, with that said, did either of you have sort of, when you saw this for the first time, or first time sort of experiences with a movie, with this movie, or anything like that we could touch on and start us off with?
About 24 hours ago, Pops.
This was the first watch for you? Oh,
it was.
Wow.
I did not expect that.
It's on the big list of movies that I keep meaning to get to, and while I've seen Baron Munchausen, that was the only one of the three that I had seen. So, by the way, I haven't seen Brazil. It's one that I could never either find when I was looking for a movie to watch, or when I was looking around for like movies on sale. It's always just kind of eluded me.
Yeah, that's fair too. It wasn't an easy one to sort of like get your hands around if you don't own a physical copy. I do a little bit of search, but again, this is Apple TV, I think, owns the rights now. So the one pattern I am finding with some of these is you have a couple things. If it's a Disney product and it's remotely not PC family friendly type stuff, it is on lockdown. Hard to find. Then you have sort of like the gray area of the MGM, Amazon stuff, or possibly there's rights issues depending on the independent creator. So like Ron Underwood worked on a film called Heart and Souls, and it's sort of still pretty enigmatic. I think it popped up on Tubi for a while, but it's not an easy one to find as well. So Apple TV, though, when they have their rights, man, they really wrangle them in. So I don't think they've kind of figured out what they want to do as far as streaming goes. But I don't really do a lot of Apple. But yeah, interesting. So
Yeah, I own this one, so I came out kind of lucky because this is one of the few things I do own.
yeah, you were a big fan and talked this up quite a bit, even when we were talking about Baron Munchausen and before. So, yeah.
But I haven't seen Brazil, though. I haven't seen that one. Believe it or not.
So, chat, you guys can clarify for me, but I would say Brazil is a fantasy version of like the book 1984. Like it's a very dark and edgy. Yeah. It's a Big Brother sort of meets fantasy stuff and very odd. Again, it's very strange. So I have not watched Brazil in a long time. I'm not particularly thrilled about, hey, let's run out and watch Brazil. It doesn't feel like a talk hard vibe, but yeah, we could chat more about that and see, I guess. So
the first time I watched this, I think I was in college, and I admit I had a wee bit too much to drink when I first saw this. So I remember the first time watching it thinking this was the coolest, wildest movie I'd ever seen in my life. I mean, I've seen Tropic Thunder now, so I can't say that anymore. But I just remember thinking, like, I love the idea of the map. Like, I made myself a map for the time map. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Well, it's the wildest kids movie.
Well, I mean, mentally speaking, probably right up my alley. But yeah, I just was like, I was obsessed with this movie. I loved it. I loved the way they did things. Like, I mean, the time traveling itself and just the cut-ins of how they traveled, like if they would fall in someplace or just disappear, or like this one, like where the wall scooted, but then they kept coming out of his closet. Like it was just it was such an adventure. The face haunted me forever because, like I said, I watched this when I had a little too much to drink, and it was just, yeah, I absolutely adored this movie. It's still funny now, but yeah, see, there's the map. I made myself one of those.
I think the one thing I think for people who don't like or get the film is that they don't catch the explanations along the way. So when they explain the map and they explain basically the God Satan metaphor that Terry Gilliam's going for, and they explain the map and there's these holes, these little divot and imperfections in God's creation, and they're using those to kind of move around through time. It really is just a fascinating concept. I have to admit, I don't think it was alcohol only when he came up with this. I think he had to have something a lot stronger than just alcohol to come up with this concept, because it's a pretty wild one for sure. So, hey, to Zach's, great to see you, brother. And by the way, folks, keep your memberships up to date if you can, so you get the early access to me and Zach's. I'll get it hopefully posted here the next day or two here. Zach's and I did talk about RRR, did our little revisit, and kicked off my my series here of some of the best films of the half decade revisited. How do they hold up or not? So making our little short list of some of the best films of the last since 2020. Relatively short list. How great are they? How they showed up? And Zach's was one of my first one, so great to have him. Great to be here, man. Great to see you, my friend. So, President, this movie has a very fairy tale like moments, and of course, a year later, Shelley Duvall, who appeared in the movie, would host the Family Tale Theater. Yeah, okay, very cool, very cool. Yeah, so it was interesting seeing Shelley Duvall as well. She's one of the star-studded actors and performers in this. But I mean, what is weird to me, IRONCASTER, I don't know if you're really much of a Monty Python fan, is I don't know exactly how they negotiated to get John Cleese top billing. Like John Cleese was the top billing for this film, so I thought it was very interesting. It's the weird version of Robin Hood, kind of fun role there for him for sure.
So it took me a minute to recognize him, but once I caught on pretty quick, and I'm like, oh yeah, that kind of makes sense. Terry Gilliam and them, they're all kind of friends together. So it just seemed to me like it would be kind of a natural inclusion that John Cleese would be in this movie.
What I had forgotten, and SQUEEKA owns the movie and is such a big fan, I guess I'd be in trouble for admitting it, but I forgot that they just kind of leave him behind. I guess I somehow thought, because you do have these other, because again, they were all part of Monty Python, right? So Michael Palin is in the film as well. And then, of course, here's Sean Connery as Agamemnon. I, for some reason, kept thinking, did I do it wrong? Yeah, there it goes. I kept thinking that they all went along with the dwarfs on the excursion, but that's not the case at all. So I really had this kind of jumbled in my head a little bit, but it was a fun experience going through that and seeing such big names come on screen for a moment and then do their part and leave. But yeah, John Cleese, Sean Connery. Is it interesting now having some more context, SQUEEKA, of his Bond era to see him now in a role like this?
Oh, it's definitely it's weird seeing this now again after watching him as Bond, because like I don't know, like I think before he was when I watched the Bond one, I feel like I had kind of forgotten about this, but I still remembered like the Bond one felt weird for a moment. Like it felt like this isn't the Sean Connery I know. And then watching this again, I was like, oh, that's why, because I knew him as Agamemnon. Like that's why it
Yeah.
felt weird to me. But yeah, it was. I mean, it's nice seeing how diverse he is, and to see, um, just like the different roles he's played. Because he was also in what was that other? There was a movie I watched that he's a barbarian guy. Oh, the one with the famous red bikini. What's the famous?
Oh, you watched that, huh? You watched Zardoz?
I've seen him in it. No, I've heard of it.
Oh.
I haven't watched it, but I've seen pieces.
Okay.
Like I've been told now of the legend of Sean Connery in the bikini.
Oh my gosh, it is insane.
But I
Ironcastor,
haven't
if you could pull
watched
up an image of Zardoz, we have a Loki Zardoz that dates back to the very beginning of Talk Hard, where it wasn't me who face swapped him in. I think somebody else did it for me, but it was yeah, I'll actually be on with Roman and the Empire for a few minutes. I can't stay. I have too much early morning stuff, but I told him I'd pop in for Zardoz because Zardoz is just Sean Connery's wearing this crazy mankini looking thing. It's completely nuts. So yeah,
right, so
that's a hard.
I've
Once you
seen
see
that,
that, it's hard.
and then like the Bond ones, and then there's other. I mean, like there's other, films that he's been in. And it's just like, okay, this is, I kind of went down the rabbit hole a little bit and looked at just pictures of some different stuff that he's been in. I'm like, wow, he's kind of very versatile. But it was weirder watching Bond, not remembering Time Bandits, and then going back and watching Time Bandits and remembering that's where I first saw him.
Got it.
So it made me happy to revisit, and I forgot that he came back at the end too. So I was really excited to see him again. I was like, oh, Agamemnon.
Yes, Nordy, I would say that's a fair assessment. Terry Gilliam, it probably was a regular based on his time with Monty Python and some of the other stuff he's on. They were all probably definitely heavily into all sorts of stuff. I would definitely say that's fair for sure. Fred's talking about time travel movies, how most of them have happy endings, but in this one, once he makes it back to his own time, live happily ever after. But here, movie's a dark ending. Movie has a very dark ending if you start to chew on it too. Like you start to realize you got this little kid and his parents just burst into flames, and the whole ending is kind of pretty wild. You're like, whoa. Yeah, I agree. Zach, I briefly mentioned that I know of the series existing, but I have not and don't really have any desire to see it. Did you watch it, and do you recommend it? Because that might change my take on it a little bit. So, wishing Sean Connery was Cassius Leonidas. Oh, first off, let's not do a remake of 300. That sounds awful. There's talks of them doing a TV show, but yeah, I don't know that Connery would have been way too old by the time they were doing 300. But maybe if there had been a 300 or something like that back in the day, that would kind of worked. But yeah. Hey, we're Canadian. Great to see you, brother. Hope you're doing great, man. Doing great. You were hot topic here. He visited us from Japan, left us some snacks, which we'd finished off with the grandkids. They all wanted to try some stuff, so we had some of the grandkids having some of the Japanese snacks in the last couple days. So that was kind of fun. But yeah, star-studded cast for sure. It is great, and I do, like you said, SQUEEKA, I really do enjoy that they kind of go full circle and give you a little sneak there, a little peek. That was nice. I like that too. That's really good. Felt almost Wizard of Oz-esque, you know what I mean, where the characters are showing up and you're like, what's real, what's not real, that kind of stuff. I like it. I like that a lot. How about you, Ironcaster? Were you surprised by the old fireman bit at the end? Did I lose Caster? You
I
might
was
be on
waiting
mute.
to start seeing more of the characters coming along. Oh wait, no, am I fine now?
You're good.
Oh, like I was saying, I was waiting for it, and I was kind of hoping we were going to see a lot of those, those big names show up at the end, as like once he's kind of waking up, and we're seeing how a lot of this could have been just a dream or not, and only to turn around and see like, oh, hey, there's Sean Connery, or there's God, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, I actually kind of expected more of that too on the rewatch. And again, I just couldn't remember some of those intricate details, but I actually agree with you if it felt like it had sort of that Wizard of Oz sort of feel or not. But no, he didn't go too far with that. So, DJ Ronnie G's in the house. Yeah, great to see you.
Because it's a bit of a fascinating thought to have that this is basically just the Wizard of Oz, but from the perspective of a young boy. And there's a lot you could play into with that.
Oh, yeah, very true. That's true. I misunderstood Snorty's previous comment. He was talking about 300 Spartans, which is a movie from 1962. Yeah, that's a book based on Gates of Fire. Good, thank you, Snorty. I'm sorry I misread that. I'm sorry about that. Yeah, no, I think that I have to look that up and see what Connery was doing around that time. There's definitely, he was, a big fan of Monty Python and their work, and really wanted to do a lot of stuff with them whenever he could. And I think that despite being such a big name, it tended to work itself out more than it would, surprise us. I mean, I'm still kind of blown away that he's in this movie and works with them pretty regularly. But they're all friends. Don't sleep on the fact that the Monty Python stuff was that big, because it was huge for sure. And then there's no way around it. So we'll see Sean here. Sean again in a few weeks.
Even to this day, Monty Python still is held up. Like, you can't hardly go to a D&D game without at least one Monty Python quote, or like "'Tis but a scratch" has been like the echoing cry of every battle.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's fair. It's trust me, there's so much more that didn't catch on. I'm still shocked. I mean, I was down. So, I mean, it was so, again, without the internet, pre-internet, imagine that old Pops is that old. The one thing you could get, there was a set of books, a couple paperbacks, and it had all of it had a whole bunch of the flying, I shouldn't say all, but it had a bunch of the Flying Circus episodes in script form. So as someone who was trying to write, work on scripts, do that kind of stuff, it was great to have that. And there was tons of little skits and sketches and quotable stuff that doesn't quite make it into our regular stuff. But I'm shocked there's not more, because there's so many great bits. There's so many fun things that we do definitely could use a lot more of. So
I agree, Ironcaster. I playing D&D, I've heard that quote a lot, but I like to, that's my favorite road rage quote is, I don't like say bad words. I just, if somebody's really rude on the road, I say, "Your father's a hamster." Like,
yes, your mother smells yes, I know.
Yeah. That's all I say is, "Your father's a hamster." I don't do the whole, I don't give them the whole line. They're not worth it. But yeah. I would say, I think that's why I watched this one, is because of, in my college days, I found the gamer crew, and we played a lot of D&D, and we were the Monty Python nerds, and we watched a lot of that, and like British sitcoms and things like that. And yeah,
that's awesome.
Watch this one.
That's awesome. This was another thing I wanted to point out too. Was similar to Baron Munchausen. He has somehow pulled off a miracle of just getting like some crazy set pieces and props in his films. This is not like the $5 million budget. It's a fair amount of money back then, but not outrageously insane. So the fact that he actually has some of these crazy set pieces and stuff like that in the backgrounds, it is really, really quite interesting and really, really impressive. So, I mean, this is a full, yeah, definitely impressive prop for sure.
I love the use of the Lego pieces to remind us that this is imagination. It's like a child's mind. So I love the use of the Lego pieces in the set buildings.
Same.
Yeah, that was true because I kind of forget some of those details. And then the crazy costuming, like we were talking about earlier, definitely Phil. If you don't get the kids' imagination stuff, then just it's watching these kind of costumes and stuff. They're just crazy stuff going on with these outfits.
Oh my gosh! Tell me about
pig head.
computers.
Here's the pig head. It's great. Oh yeah, the jokes about computers and stuff's great.
Yeah, it sort of reminds me. My nephew's at the house here on the weekends, and whenever he's over, he loves coming to play with a couple of these pieces I 3D printed for tabletop stuff, like this house and some kind of spooky trees I was putting together, and he wants to play with those because he's like, I love Monster House and the spooky house, and it's like, all right, you can go play with them and he can go have his adventures and dealing with like the scary woods, and it's like, how could I not help but encourage this?
So we're gonna have a Time Bandits 2 Ironcaster style. Is that what you're saying?
Yep. We'll see if I can't get him to fit Mechagodzilla into it.
Time Sharks. There you go.
I bet that's a movie.
Probably.
I will guarantee that Tubi has something that is close to it if it's not exactly called Time Sharks. So.
Well, there you go. See, it's not taken. You can do it.
Yeah. George on this one for sure. Help make this happen. So yeah, thank you. And hey to you. Thanks for popping by. So yeah, obviously, yeah. So definitely some, and Mother Smelled of Elderberries, indeed. And with the computer gag too, which is funny, and it has aged better because it didn't happen. So the year after this, so they would have been filming. So this would have wrapped and been done, gone to theaters. He's filming. So the guy there that's playing the evil one, his name is David Warner, this guy right here. And David Warner is kind of like the head sort of like evil guy, if you will. Also in Tron, which is like you basically are inside a computer, So definitely has aged well in that regard too. And felt very, like you said, kids' imagination, interpretation of God and bad guys. And I didn't think of it right at the moment. I've been trying to figure out how do you describe Time Bandits? How do we get our head around that? And there's a few, like an amalgam of things with a little bit of how Princess Bride is explained to the little boy, and he's reading the story and the adventure and all that. And then I thought about the Lego movie. I don't know, Ironcaster, you're familiar with the Lego movie, right?
Oh yeah, I've seen it.
Yeah, so the Lego movies turns out to be entirely from the little boy's imagination. You're like, oh man. So there are some things that have kind of tapped into this or kind of, picked up the baton for what Terry Gilliam did, but it was so far ahead of his time. I still look at the date, 1981. I still think it's a typo. It doesn't feel like it's from 1981, but I'm just getting that old, I guess. I'm just getting that old. So.
Well, it doesn't take you out of the environment. It's seamless the way that it puts you in the imagination. And there's like the little Legos or the callbacks to Agamemnon and the Greek warriors and things like that he's talked about before. And there's the shot in his bedroom where you see, some of the things that are going to come that you've seen already or that are going to come about later, like the tank and the little knights. Like there's pieces that remind you that it is the kid's imagination, but it's not so obvious about it that it's still, to me, that's what keeps it fun, is the fact that it's like you can come back afterwards and say, oh, that I see it was from the kind of the kid's perspective, but it's still a good movie. It doesn't make you feel, it makes you feel like a kid again, but it doesn't make you feel immature in a way.
That's fair. And it also doesn't make me feel cheap, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, no,
cheap.
you're right. Yeah, yeah, it doesn't feel cheap or juvenile or overly simple or anything like that. And in fact, it feels the reverse. It feels complex and complicated. So, yeah, very good
And it
point.
doesn't over explain things. It kind of lets you, it does explain some, but it kind of lets you go along with it.
Yeah, I get just enough. I get enough. What do you think about the lead character? Right, David Rappaport plays Randall. He's our head dwarf. I love the fact that he's not in charge. Just do everything I tell you to do. It's great.
I
It's
love the
awesome.
part where they're like, "Do you want to be the leader? We said no leaders, right? So listen to me."
Yeah, you're just going to listen to me and do everything I tell you to do. Yes, it's fantastic. So,
He's just a
Ironcaster,
little bit more clever than the rest.
how were you surprised by the way that, like, we talked about how these bigger name stars kind of come and go? They do their little scene, they leave, and the movie does really center around unlikely, you know, little people that at the time, they're big names amongst themselves, but not like by the Hollywood caliber of a John Cleese, Sean Connery, Shelley Duvall, Ian Holm, Michael Palin. These are people that are big. David Warner. These are people that are just way bigger than any of them uh, would have as far as film resume goes, or box office draw. So, how was all that surprising you?
I mean, these are the kind of movies that are ripe for giving actors like them these prominent roles where they're not just there to solely be like, one of 30 dwarves for Santa's shop. These are the types of movies that come along that really give them a chance to play just, non-conventional characters, or in this case, here we are kind of leading to believe that these like, these about six or seven, little people are a bunch of like almost masterful bandits jumping through time to do whatever they want.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
it's great because each one they have just these zany looks to them. You love the looks to them all, like the helmets, the monocle. You know, one's got a little bit more scruff than the others.
Do you have a
It's a lot of
favorite?
fun. Oh, don't make me.
Did you have a favorite?
Yeah, I love
I
that.
I might have to go with Strutter.
Yeah, I loved them. I thought they just did such a great job of having these interesting, distinct moments and personalities and stuff that just made it very interesting. Um, Obviously, the great Kenny Baker always kind of draws my eyes. That's right here. He's he's phenomenal as Fidget, and yeah. But yeah, Strutter's good. Strutter's a good choice. What do you think
How
about?
long? How long have you been a bandit? 4'1". That's a long time.
Yeah, yeah, 4'1's a good time, long time indeed. Yeah. Do you have a favorite squeak?
Oh, probably. Oh my gosh, who's the brown haired one? Wally. The
Yeah,
one that's
Wally's
really
good.
sad when Fidget dies. Isn't
Yeah,
that Wally?
yeah, Jack Purvis. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Let me
He's
find a
just,
shot of Wally.
and then when he's like grabs onto the cage and he just lets himself go, like, yes. And then he holds onto the rope and you're like, no, Wally.
Yeah, it's good stuff. Oh yeah, man. I know Peter Dinklage is just such a jackwagon, and he's the guy that's the little person that protested they were going to use dwarfs in the Snow White movie, and it created a big hoopla. And he's just I can't look at this dude and take him serious anymore. It's just I saw something the other day where he's like doing like an awards thing, and he comes walking out. It's like yuck.
He's
Yeah,
he's gotten too big for his britches.
yeah, I don't know. You just keep your keep your you're calling me snorty. That's great. But yeah, I would deal with that nonsense. So I want to get the other one I think is really kind of underrated. I think Mike Edmonds has got such a great, the one horn.
Oh
I don't know, man. That's just yeah, it's good stuff. That's good stuff. Yeah, I like that one
and
a
the
lot.
one,
But
who's the one they're saying?
That's
Og.
Og. That's Og.
That's Og. Oh, who's the one that they're always sending off to? The older one with the glasses. Is that Strutter? That guy.
This one? Yeah, this is this is Strutter.
Yeah.
This is what Ironcaster, I think.
I don't have their names memorized, and I feel bad because I have this movie and I love it, but I don't have their names memorized.
They don't. That would kind of be one of the few, like I would say, kind of like drawbacks to the screenplay part. Is it is a little hard to figure out who everybody is. You know, sometimes when you write dialogue, you're supposed to try to make sure you use people's names, and this film didn't do a great job of that at times. It is a little tricky to know who everybody is, but it's fine. It's fine. It still works. Like, you know, you don't get totally lost and can't enjoy the movie or anything like that. But yeah, just put in the first person's name and then a comma on that line. It'd probably be a little bit easier for us to get even more attachment to some of them for sure. So let's see. I wanted to get around to.
I did love watching this and like the way some of the scenes evolve, because like the scene where they get thrown on the boat and they're there with the ogre and then the wife, and it's already crazy, and then they throw him overboard, and then I'm sitting here with Beard, and Beard's like, of course, why is there a giant? How did nobody know there's a giant under there, a big giant with the boat for a hat? He's like, where did this come from? And I'm like, it's an imagination. Like, there's not supposed to be a storyline other than they're time traveling to fantastical places. It's it.
Yeah,
but I think if you're trying to watch this as a linear movie, it's not going to be appealing to you.
It's very wild, right? So, I mean, I love the fact that Catherine Hellman's character is just called Mrs. Ogre. By the way, that's just her character's name. She's a main character in Brazil too, by the way, for anybody who wants to watch that one. But I really do agree with you, Squeak. I think that the fun of this, if you didn't figure out the silliness for the sake of silly, the fact that the giant is, you know, wearing the boat as a hat is just hysterical and just great. So, yeah. Yeah, good stuff. So, Shere Khan is also the voice. Yeah, okay. Yeah, Tony J. Yeah, they dub in the voice for this for sure. Tony J does the voice. Yeah, I saw that.
I missed Tailspin.
Me too.
Yeah.
That's what we need is a live action Tailspin. No, I'm just kidding. We don't. I didn't say that.
No, we just need the classic shows get re-released on physical media, and then we can collect those for what they are.
I would 100% agree. In fact, I would pull all of them down off the streaming services, return to a Saturday morning cartoon lineup, and if you don't like that, you can just go buy them in the local retail stores. So that'd be my strategy. By the way, I thought we were going to have a gratuitous shot or two. There's some interesting moments here walking. I'm like, oh, we're going to see too much of the giant, but fortunately it stayed PG on me. But yeah, it's pretty wild. Bizarre tattoos all over him and crazy stuff going on. So, yeah.
Beard kept making comments about how he's like, is this a kid's show? Because like when they go to the scene with Napoleon and there, you know, it shows these dead people getting blown up. There's people hanging off. There's like he's like, oh yeah, this is a kid's movie because there's a firing range, just a random, like, you know. And I was like, yeah, I'm sure this kid's watched too much TV. Who knows what he's read or seen? Or I was like, but yeah, this is what it looked like to a kid, I'm sure.
Well, he had read history. He was kind of a history little buff, right? Because the parents, so the parents are not connecting too much. So I like that a lot. I have a grandson that's really into history too. It's mostly like World War II and naval battles and stuff like that. But it would be similar to get, you know, his version of what things were like versus reality. So interesting. The one thing I also too that was fun, by the way, Ironcaster, you gotta love. You know how I am. I'm so nostalgic. I'm like, Dude whips out a real Polaroid,
Yes.
old school Polaroid, man. Oh, I was loving life, man. I
I was
guess, are you
looking.
old enough to remember the Polaroids?
Oh yeah, I've got a couple of Polaroid pictures around. Though I will say with the camera here, I was looking forward to seeing how they were going to take it at the very end of the film because I knew that they're going to have to come back around and sort of resolve this and show like what was he actually doing, and there's the question of what could they have done? They could have either gone the route of it all just being toys in his room, or we could actually get the no, that all had actually happened sort of questions.
Yeah, it's a fun little, through an eyes of a child sort of version of life, and the fact that there's, you take these historical elements and kind of piece them together with this bizarre story as we discussed. I think it's really quite interesting, and I'm glad that they didn't really do the sequel because they were talking about doing a sequel about a decade or so later. I'm glad they didn't work out, and I'm glad they, I don't know about this Apple show. I'm not sure how I feel about that. I think I kind of had opened another window, and it was like, Taika Waititi's name was on it. And I was like, no, thank you. But maybe I could be wrong. I don't know. You guys can tell me, but.
Well, I like that they leave it open ended because it lets you have your own imagination. Like I know they show the Polaroids at the end of the movie, but also at the beginning of the movie when the knights go and he's and there's like the forest and he wakes up there, that shows the picture that's on his wall. So you're left wondering like, is this his imagination? Is this how he thinks and feels? Like, are these still pictures on his wall? Are these pictures he actually took? Like I said, I know it shows the pictures at the end, but it never, that's it. It just stops. It doesn't go and show that if this is still part of his imagination that this happened, and these are just like posters that he has in his room, and that's why they're quote pictures. Like we never find that out, and I love that it leaves it so open ended like that because it kind of like I said at the beginning where it shows the picture of the knight in the forest, it kind of shows you that glimpse of he's thinking of all this is all his imagination. The toys come back. These are toys in his room. So you're left wondering, are the pictures real? Are they pictures that he just has? Are they pictures from books? So I like that that's left there and it's not over explained.
Okay. I kind of feel pretty nihilistic about the ending, so I'll give you my pitch because it feels very much like it did happen, and Kevin just watched his parents blow up, and he's home alone, and God doesn't care. God rolls the map up, and he reuses, characters like Sean Connery. Like Sean Connery, the look gets reused in history multiple times, multiple ways. I don't know. It just feels more in line with what he was trying to do, but like you said, it's open enough that allows us nerds to kind of get to talk and debate and discuss it a little bit. So, how did you feel about the ending and how it all came together, Ironcaster?
It's a bit of an abrupt ending there at the very end, but I guess it's sort of a question of like you could leave it a little bit of up to interpretation to say that maybe this all was just that dream, or no, it's just kind of. But I think ultimately the truth of it is like it is just as simple as they lay it out. Like God is kind of uncaring, and it's like, well, it's also sort of on the bandits for having failed to collect it all.
Yeah,
And so
I think with the wink with Connery's wink at the end, and the fact that like he woke up in a forest and then woke up again and he was just fine. Like I don't know. I feel like and this could even be one of those weird silly messages like appreciate your parents, you know. And then he's gonna wake up again and his parents are fine. Like we don't know. I don't know.
Right. Yeah, I feel like this one was muddled on purpose. Like I said, I liken this also to Wizard of Oz a couple times, and I feel like at the end, obviously, Dorothy wakes up and she sees her family and has appreciation. And I saw you as the lion, and you were the Tin Man, and so all of this stuff's coming out of her mouth. And then here we'd have Kevin just kind of witnessing different things, and then all right, well, what happens next? So we don't really get that. And I think that's what lends itself to being more interesting in a lot of ways too. I think the general masses and the audience want the Wizard of Oz spoon-fed, clean it all up type ending. Hollywood likes that for the masses, but I also think there's something something much more interesting and artistic about what Terry Gilliam does with his imagination films, and this is definitely got that type of ending for sure.
Well, on top of that, the kid he wasn't really even trying to get home. It was just sort of he's going for the ride, he's going for the adventure.
Yeah, I kind of believe Kevin was fine with staying with Agamemnon. I don't think that was, I think he was cool. It's like, I'll live in history. This is way cooler than my real life. Yeah. Hence the reason I think it is part of, the imagination. Yeah.
And who knows? He's got a picture of the map. He could go back to Agamemnon. That could be why he winked at him. He could be like, hey, your parents are gone. You coming back with me? Like, that's what I love about it, is it's so done. Like, that's it. It's done. And you have no idea where it's going to go from there. Is it a dream? Is he going to go back with the firefighter? Is he an orphan? Is this Batman? Like,
yeah, that's good.
So it's like, I love that part about it, where it's like, okay, and he does have all those pictures still, so he could technically, he has a picture of the map.
The adventure could continue for sure. It
He
would
could go back to Agamemnon.
It'd be unfair to at least not dive into the Monty Python type jokes. Like, so they do such a great job of giving you the gratuitous double entendre. You think what he's getting all worked up about and what his real problem is, and it's like his obsession is about eating fruit, and it catches you off guard because it doesn't even really spell it all out to you. IRONCASTER, what was your take on the whole dynamic of these characters? Because this was really one of the weird ones. I was wondering, oh man, I wonder how people will take this. I kind of forgot the Michael Palin's little part here with it's Vincent and Pansy, right? Because they show up again, God reusing people. But I don't know, what were you thinking there, my friend?
I somehow feel like I've forgotten these two.
Yeah, they pop in twice. They're on the Titanic as well. So
right, that
they flipped the card over, right? They flipped the card over, right there, the royalty, and then whatever. It's like he's all worked up, and and then they're on the Titanic again. Same gag, but we worked up and having to have fruit. And that's when they were, get you. So
did you pay? He's like, do you love me even though I have this thing on my nose? And then she,
I love you. I love you no matter what. There's no lies between us.
Yes, it's awesome. Absolutely awesome. So they're also
sorry. There were several moments in this movie where Beard was like, what now? What is going on here? Of course, what is this? Why this now? And I'm like, it's a kid's movie. Simmer down. And this is when he was like, is this what it's like for you watching movies? And I was like, yeah,
right, okay, yeah. Like I said, I love the fact that the roles were reversed in your household, where Beard was sitting there like, okay, what? But this is a movie. It's like, what is going on? If you've never seen this before, IRONCASTER, how many times were you like, okay, what is going on now? Like, what is the deal with this scene? Like, that kind of thing.
I mean, I was ultimately just along for the ride on this one because it pretty quick in, it becomes very obvious that it's about, the adventure in the mind of a child. So as such, it does a really good job of sort of following along with that. So you kind of learn to just kind of accept it and say, okay, well, I'm just along for the ride on this. Let's see where we go next.
Yeah, I agree.
What did you think about the game show?
Oh yeah, the game.
Your money or your life.
I was waiting for like Darth Helmet to show up at the end. Go, fooled you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there were some great lines and again, this is the zany mind of this director and creator. Like Terry Gilliam just does this stuff, and you're like, man, what is going on? And I think this is why there's a lot of folks who just don't get it. This is not for the masses in a lot of ways, for sure. So And by the way, I think he kind of co-wrote this with Vincent, the guy that plays Vincent, Michael Palin's character, which is interesting because Michael Palin wasn't really known to be a big writer per se. So it is interesting to know that whatever coke they were on or whatever they were going on, right? Yeah, they were putting this all together, I guess. So for sure. But yeah,
I secretly wish it was like adapted from a book so I could go back and read the book. I'm like, yeah, I want to read this.
Yeah, I think it was pretty much
No,
a
it's just
standalone story, right? This is his first one of this thing. What was it? There was, I had a little note about development. It had to do with he'd put stuff together, and then he would talk about George Harrison about it, and they were pitching it to him, and he was like, "Yeah, that sounds good. Do that." So interesting. Yeah. The film is also just very ambitious with just the craziness that they're going for. And I will admit, this is in my brain. I was like, when I saw this sequence, I actually kind of laughed because of the ending of the live action Titanic with the door and them on the door. They all start bickering and fighting with each other and whatever. And I'm like, oh, I'm just really having a good time with this scene. This scene made me laugh, and it surprised me how much fun I was having with this, more than I expected, I guess.
That was all I could think about. Was just thinking about like, oh, can they all fit on the door? And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh wait. Then I'm like, wait, this is like a decade before Titanic.
I know. I was sitting there, and I can't remember the other comment. I know one of them was the little bad guys with the horns, the little screaming banshee things that kept coming after them. Like, there was that, and there was a couple other things, and then this piece of Titanic. I was like, wait, is this like the comedy of the Seven Samurai, where a lot of movies have come off of this movie and we didn't realize it? There's so many pieces, because like with the screaming banshees part, I'm like, ha ha ha, Harry Potter copied that, like.
Mm-hmm.
With their little wraiths or whatever. I was like, oh, look, they copied our Dementors. That's what they're called. But I was like, there's so many things that I feel like have been copied off of this little movie.
Yeah.
Oh,
here's our emotional scene there, right?
Oh,
Yep.
Well, I love this scene because you expect them. They're like, he's like, go get help, and you're like, are they gonna buckle and go get God, bring him back, and that's how they're going to end this? And then it's just like one by one they actually go and get like different historical figures, and it really is like the showdown on the floor of a kid's room, like just playing, where they were like got their castle set, but that's not enough, so they bring in the dinosaurs, and that's not enough, so they bring in the GI Joes. Like, I loved this scene of all of the different people and the cowboy. And
IRONCASTER, you had to be loving it. He goes full Kung Fury with this, man. Everything goes against the wall, man. Everything is out there.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and it's great for that, because by the end of it, I've kind of forgotten about like half the characters that showed up in it, only to then kind of see at the end, I'm like, oh, they did the thing.
Yeah.
IRONCASTER, what did you think when the merry-go-round started?
I'm like, I was just trying to think about like Terry Gilliam trying to justify the expense of this big elaborate like piece just to show off how silly, like how stupidly powerful, our evil villain could be, like, well, yes, you don't understand. He has to be able to open his top up and go full merry-go-round. 5 years before Beetlejuice ever did it.
Oh, that's the other thing. Yeah, and his little headpiece looked like a face hugger. The little headpiece he wore. I was like,
with a little knife pop out.
So yeah,
Yeah, this
it
definitely feels like it. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say that was another one of those scenes where Beard was like, "What? Of course, this is happening now."
Yeah. Yeah, it feels like it may have inspired a lot more than people kind of think. It has quite a strong legacy. Like, it's been on sort of like best kid movie lists, time travel lists. It has sort of all of those positive tags associated with it as well. And then, of course, like you were you guys were talking about earlier with the whole 3 stages of life thing, which has made people really reevaluate these films. He, as a director, I think is kind of moved into the background now. I don't think he's really in the forefront of, anyone's mind's eye. And he does still strike me as the director that people will come to love and appreciate more as time goes on, especially because there are so many great films that are just not, they're not like Oscar great. They're just so good. And I feel that he'll get a better and better legacy from that. The one thing I think is also interesting, and I'll just throw it out there, and this is more of just a thing I like about life, and that is the fact that he married one of the makeup artists back in the day, like old school makeup artists, right? And then they've been married this whole time. They got married like a long time ago, 73, I think they got married. Yeah, I looked it up, wrote it down, 73. So, Hollywood likes to have this image and reputation of all the debauchery and all the chaos and whatever. And it's like, man, this dude's been married for over 50 years. That's great. That is awesome. So good on them. So they head into their twilight year. He's 85. I did not know he was 85, by the way. I looked it up. When I was looking at his page, I noted he was 85. I never in a million years would have thought he was that old. But yeah, he's 85. So, yeah, he and his wife have been married for over 50 years. So, crazy. So, Ironcaster, your first watch. So, let's talk through any other scenes or moments that we should definitely touch on to capture that for you, because that was really, really fun. Good to know. I did not know that going into this for sure. Definitely did not have this on my radar screen for first watch for you. So, that's almost like a bonus reward for me.
I was thinking about it over for a second. At the very initial start of the movie, it's that very regular, middle America, kind of, I guess, I not necessarily middle America, but like that very kind of suburban lifestyle where like the parents are kind of they're in that stereotypical like living room that like every family had. You have the plastic on the furniture, watching some nonsense shows. It felt like I was taken back to like my grandparents' house back in like 1993.
Yeah, he's definitely taken some jabs at the consumerism too, right? All the crazy gadgets his parents are into and all those kind of weird things that, you know what I mean? I think that's just phenomenal that he finds ways to work those moments in there for sure. So, yeah. It's
and it's like the dad's reading the paper and he's not even watching the TV, but if you touch that remote, you say, "Hey, I'm watching that."
Yeah. Sony points out that Palin did also work on something called Around the World in 80 Days with Michael Palin. So it's a BBC show. So check that out. Gets a 10 out of 10 stopwatch blue hand timers from me. So thank you, Snorty. Appreciate that evaluation. Fair enough. I think it's one of those things where I kind of go back and forth because whenever I feel where my rating or my evaluation kind of lands, like you briefly mentioned, I didn't have the right photo lined up when you guys talking about like the Lego in the background. There's things like that make me like really love this movie more. So I'm kind of, this is a really hard one for me to evaluate and work on. So SQUEEKA, keep selling me on this film's greatness. Keep pushing me in the right direction, if you will.
Well, it is. I mean, if you're looking for a more linear, because like one of the things Beard said was that Beard of Baron Munchausen was a little easier to follow. It had a more like believable kind of plot line, and I was like, this one's not supposed to. It's not supposed to necessarily have a plot line. It does have recurring jokes like the ones with Pansy. You do have your characters that you're following. You do have your premise of there's holes in the time continuum, but it's not supposed to have a distinct first then plot line. We're adventuring and we hope it all turns out for the best. And then it's left up to you whether it does or not.
And however it turns out, it turns out. You know what I mean? I think that's yeah. I think that is. Is it a little too weird though, Ironcaster, to get this a kid's imagination, or was it very clear to you that this is what we're in?
I mean, it was very obvious that was what we were in for. So, looking at it with that in mind, the fact that we quickly jump from scene to scene with it, you're more willing and more able to overlook because it's again the mind of a child on this big crazy adventure where you have to accept yes, things are just going to happen, and no, we don't have time to explain them.
Well,
Yeah,
and
whatever.
if you could find it, like one of the things too is if you, I guess because I've seen it more than once, if you go and you watch it and you stop it, once you've watched it the first time, if you go watch it again and you stop it at the boy's room, one of the things you'll notice is like almost all of the things he encounters are pictures on his wall. Like the tank is there. I feel like Napoleon was on there. Like a lot of the things that are happening, the points in time that he encounters are from the pictures on his walls.
Well, that tracks. That makes a lot of sense. And that really fits well with the general legacy of the film and what everybody, has talked about with it, his love of history and how it all comes together. And I don't think they have a good picture of him in his room though to see it. See that?
I sent you something. Can you pull that up? It's in the thing.
Yeah, 1 second here. Let me pull. All right, let me close this. Then blank. Oh, yeah, that's the shot I was going to pull up. Yeah. Okay.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, I love this design and background and all that. It's crazy.
And I look at this and I think like, oh, I would hate.
If you hit next, it'll show you the wall. I think the next picture is the wall.
Oh, look at that! Yeah, there's Napoleon for sure. The tank.
And like, there's the picture of the battle that he stops in on right there, and like, I mean, it's kind of a grainy picture, but I mean, there's the pirate ship that's in it. There's this ship that you see later, the little rocket ship looking thing. There's the cowboys.
So you're definitely seeing the setup was all there for you to get what's really happening, how he's dealing with stuff. But then it lends itself to the question, so what really does happen then? Does his parents, when he wakes up one day and there's a fire, he wakes up one day and he just lost his parents and this is all cope? I don't know. What do you think? I don't know. Interesting, huh? This is sort of like the backdrop of being, having nerdy, fun conversations like this. It's like, wow. So what is the ending really about? Is it he's left with some Polaroids and his way of dealing with the fact that he can hide in history and his little imagination and whatever, or dealing with trauma? I don't know. It seems like a lot of layers that are kind of there for sure. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't want it to be sad, so no. I'm going to say no.
Yeah, that tracks for SQUEEKA too. She's like, no, thank you. Let's not get carried away with your sadness. That's too much. I won't go that far.
No. Not gonna.
I choose to believe that he's still in the dream.
Okay. So he's talking about the height thing, that Napoleon was about 5'6", 5'7", which is kind of average for back then.
Yeah, that was the other thing I was thinking about. Like, just watching, thinking, is that stereotype finally going to be kind of put away? Because I was actually, in a way, I've kind of gotten annoyed by that one.
Well, I loved his little drunken tirade. Where he's like, so and so Alexander the Great was 5'1". Like, this little.
So I think the confusion was, and again, the misinterpretation in a lot of literature is has to do with the units of measure, right? So using the French units of measure, he's 5'1" or 5'2", right? So that is fact check true. But when you translate that to our units of measure, it's 5'6", 5'7". So in his time when he had some sort of insecurity about all that, there you go. I don't know. I've never really been a Napoleon researcher to know too much beyond that. So I'll defer to everyone else. So
I knew him personally. I was around back then.
yeah. Was he kind of insecure about his height? A little short man
all the
syndrome.
time.
Small feet.
Yeah. We were the
small
same
hands.
height, and he didn't like it.
Did not like that at all. It's like,
No.
just get this mouse out of here, and you felt threatened.
Yeah, had to flee France.
Gave him a little shot to the daddy bags, and on out the door you go.
I called my friend Bolo and said, "Hey, I need help."
Oh boy, we need Bolo. We need a Bolo. That's secure around here.
Shampoo is better. I go on first and clean the hair. Conditioner is better. I leave the hair silky and smooth. Oh, really, fool?
I love Bolo.
Yeah, we're only 2 weeks into it. We've already got Bolo references going.
Bolo needs to be with Pansy. That's where Bolo needs to be. He needs to be in the part where he's like, Pansy, my love.
Well, folks, tune in next week to see where Bolo shows up in content. Or better yet, just wait until next week when we can see where Bolo shows up in the never-ending story.
Oh no, I already have Bolo. No, there's already a clip. There's already a piece of a clip already made. I'll have to try to keep adding the context because it only works because you called your shot with the whole driving Miss Daisy thing. So I had to find something that was going to be like, because that was way out of left field.
Say my name. Say my name.
Bolo
the princess.
I even found like a clip of like Bolo highlights, and they just didn't even bother giving this dude dialogue. So he doesn't really have dialogue that you can kind of steal and put in other stuff either. So yeah, it's slim pickings, but we can just have fun. Yeah. So yeah, more Bolo all the time for sure. So okay, Ironcaster, first watch for you. How will you score? How are your final thoughts on the old Time Bandits, my friend?
So, seeing it as an adult probably doesn't have the same kick to it as I would have had if I were seeing it as a child. And so, with that in mind, it's like I can't quite give as much love to it. I enjoyed it. I see why, kids especially would love it. Why it's kind of a perfect movie to show to someone younger who's willingly sit down and watch it, because there's like you get to a certain age, you get so little, and there is no sitting down, there's no patience. But overall I think it's pretty solid. I'm gonna say it's a solid 7.5. I like it. I don't really have much complaints about it because I understand that we're just kind of on the ride with the mind of a child, and so for that it's fine, but it doesn't have the same
7.5 with Legos. Ironcaster, you're letting me down.
SQUEEKA, there weren't enough Legos.
True. Okay. True. But the merry-go-round scene. 7.75. Can I push you?
Look at her negotiating for her favorite films. I love it. I'm so proud. I'm a proud pop.
I feel like, but I have to counteract because I think this is not necessarily a kid show. I think it's meant for you to re-embrace your inner child as an adult. Like, I think it's meant to show you, hey, do you remember this? Hey, do you remember this? Like, it's meant for adults to follow in a childish way.
That's good. That'll work. So this is one of those with batteries not included that you have mentioned multiple times and loving. So I'm assuming you have this in uber high regard. I do.
I own it. I mean, I own very little media, and I own this one.
Okay.
So yeah, I own this one. Yeah, I mean, I don't want to just jump out and say it's a 10, but I did make a time map back in the day. I mean,
Yeah, that all signs point to a high score when you start making your own time maps. You making your own props out of movies. You do lend yourself to be like, yeah, I'm kind of an Uber fan, which is totally cool, and it's okay to be an Uber fan of even movies that other people don't like. Who cares? You do you. So I'm glad
but
that
I
you.
have to agree that there wasn't necessarily enough Legos. I didn't really think about that, but there really wasn't enough Legos. So it's going to have to be like a 9.8.
Gotcha.
Titch more Lego.
All right,
And
Squeaky, you're
nowadays
talking
it needs
quick.
a transformer. It needs a like. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm older now. I need more toys in my movie.
This predates all that, to be honest. So
Yeah.
really good on them for British, British timeline, 1980. So yeah, and it wasn't uncommon. I know this is crazy, folks. It wasn't uncommon because we didn't have a lot of toys yet. We hadn't gone through the Star Wars toy boom and stuff like that. To be a history buff fan as a kid, like be into toy soldiers and dinosaurs and stuff like that, and not into like superhero action figure stuff. Like it was not abnormal at that point. I know that sounds crazy by today's standards. It's hard to believe little boys who didn't play, we just had some people were just into cowboys and Indians and so yes, Star Wars had existed, but it wouldn't have been uncommon to have someone who was not. So I think that's great. I thought it was cool. So
See, I grew up basically in a library, so I get that. I didn't grow up with a lot of toys. I grew up in a library, and so my pastime was I read about how people needed fare to cross the river Styx, and my grandmother found me in the cemetery one day trying to bury pennies next to everybody's gravestone to make sure they had fare. Like that's what I played with when I was little. Like what the
man,
stories.
she had to make sure everybody made it.
I did.
And then Bolo showed up.
And then Bolo showed up, and he helped. No, I was like,
Bolo was Sharon.
He probably was actually.
Might have been.
So I get it. I mean, I get not having this kid's imagination, because this is what I did. I mean, this was, and maybe that's why I like it so much, is I made my own scenes and my own stories from the things I read.
Did you ever see James and the Giant Peach?
I read the book.
Yeah, there's a film of that too, which is also stop motion and stuff. I think you would really enjoy James and the Giant Peach. That seems like one.
Does it go along with the book well?
Pretty well.
Don't know the book, but I've heard it's not bad with the book. That's what I hear. So I don't know that it depends on how nitpicky we're going to go with that. So if you're really married to the book, maybe I have to retract that. But if you can be a little flexible, I've always heard good things. And I find it to be a very solid film to be honest, the grandkids love James the Giant Peach. My kids grew up on James the Giant Peach, and it has a similar vibe as Time Bandits. It's just not, it's a little more youthful, not saying little kids, but it's little kids can watch.
I love the book. I read the book over and over again. I love the book.
Squeaky, I'd say you wouldn't hate it as far as adaptations go. Like, it's not a bad adaptation. Obviously, it's going to do its own things with the transfer to a different medium.
My thing is, as long as they don't leave out important characters per se, or really change the plot. Like, one of my favorite books is A Wrinkle in Time, and then when that movie came out, I was so mad. I was so mad. So horriblest movie ever.
Gotcha. Fred's thrown out, man, this is a deep cut, and so the only reason I remember seeing this is because Christopher Lee is in it also. And it is called, you left out a word. I think it's called Mayo. Is it called Mayo? Mio in the Land of the Faraway? Anyway, Christian Bale's in it, and it is Christopher Lee as well. That's what I remember, is Christopher Lee as well. So, have not seen this. Golly, it's a long time, man. It was a VHS copy or DVD or something. Someone loaned me. I never even owned it. Someone loaned it to me. I had a friend who was into foreign films and stuff. So Good call. All right, so Squeakin might be mad at me. I lean a lot closer to IRONCASTER's
Look at the
score.
time, guys. We gotta go.
Yeah, I know. I know. It's okay.
Sorry.
So and I don't totally know why. I really do enjoy this movie, but I also just don't really get into this movie, and I think it's because first off, I get it. I know it's a kid's imagination. I get it. I love all of those elements, but I think it just bounces around so much. It's so disconjointed. It's not the most pleasant experience and through line for a story. And I think it can be hard for most people and normies to watch. And that's why the missus wouldn't watch it, I think. I think she's like, it's fine, but I'm not in the mood to have to pay that much attention and, that kind of thing. So I tend to lean more into, and I don't think 7.5 is a bad score. It's way above Midland. But it's right there on the edge. And this is similar to how I felt about Barry Munchausen. It's like, oh man, he does so many great things. And then there's little things that I think could have been done just a little bit differently. But the guy's done some incredible stuff with this film. And I don't want to shortchange that or feel like I'm piling on, because I do really enjoy the experience watching it. But I'll also be honest that I won't probably watch this again for a year or two. It probably falls into that once every 3 to 5 years until I get it in front of the grandkids and we see if they like it or not, because they help move that meter, right? So there's certain things that I would never watch, but they keep wanting to watch it again. They keep bringing stuff out. And I was interrogating, I'm probably going to include doing a video just on kids movies that they want to watch. And I'm like, why are we watching this again? Like, what do you guys like about this movie? And sometimes it's just the joy of being a kid, which I get. Squeeka love the fact that you've just related to this movie. And I think that is really a cool take home for me, is that learning more about Squeeka through a movie like this that she likes and why she likes it, I think is very telling, very interesting. And I couldn't be happier that we did this movie, if nothing else, for that reason. So,
well, I could see why people would have that take. Like, objectively, I would probably have that take on it too. And I don't know if it's just because of the way I look at the world or way I do things myself. I mean, my brain's always disjointed. I have holes in my own little time map in my brain. But it is hard to follow, especially for a first watch. And I'll be honest, I don't watch this every year either. But when I do watch it, it's like a re-immersion. It's a good time for me. And I love the fact that it's like, wee, where are we going next? It's like when you're on a roller coaster and you don't know if you're going to go in the tunnel or you're going to go up or you're going to go down. Like, it's like, oh, what's that ride at Disney World? Space Mountain, the one that's all dark.
Yep.
And you can't see the rails, so you don't know where you're going. There's cool pictures all around you, but you're tilted to the side. Then you're going down. Then you're going like to me, it's like Space Mountain.
It's true,
and that's a good time.
By the way, on that note, Space Mountain is terrifying with the lights on, because you see it's a 1970s roller coaster and it looks scary as hell, like it's going to fall to the ground. Just so you know, just so everybody knows at home. Yes, it is scary in the dark. However, it's scary for a completely different reason when the lights are on. Because I've been in there when the lights were on. It's like, oh my gosh, this is terrifying. This thing looks like it's going to fall to the ground any moment. Holy cow. It looks 50-something years old. So anyway, notwithstanding. So. All right. Well, I stole a clip from Ironcaster's Mech Monday from last week, not the one from yesterday. So that was what was in the intro, was the week ago. But make sure your folks are checking out the Mech Monday. Tease this week's Mech Monday a little bit, Ironcaster, because it's another good time, man. I had a good time listening.
Speaking of which, I'm going to interrupt real fast. That's one of my New Year's resolutions is I want to get a mech by the end of the year.
Oh, we get you Gundams. Gundams are everywhere.
You gotta help me. I've seen one that looks like a mouse, but you gotta help me. You gotta find a good one.
A mouse?
Okay, sorry. Go back to it.
Mouse.
Well,
back.
actually,
okay.
That's a really good segue for me because, well, I'm gonna tease next week. Because next week I'm gonna sit down with the boys and we are gonna be talking about a classic, a classic cartoon in Beast Wars, which does have a transforming mouse in it, Squeeka, with a Brooklyn accent.
Oh my goodness! Why is it got to be Yankee? Oh no.
Well, because New York rats. Come on, it's perfect.
You can have your New York rats. I'm a Southern mouse.
Yeah, all fun and games till we crossed the Dixie line. Well, everything else okay, Ironcaster? What else are you gonna be doing this week?
That's a good question. I think T-shirts off tonight. So I might go live this week a bit more. I got a bunch of models and minis piling up, and I'm gonna probably do some more painting. There's always something here. I got a nice big old stack of stuff that's all ready to go, and I just need to start throwing a little bit of paint around. So maybe we'll do a little chill hangout, paint some stuff, and have some laughs.
Make sure you're subscribed, folks. You never know when you might be watching and he just whips into something like this.
Hey, boys! Look what I got here!
Hey, where are the white women at?
You just never know. You just never know.
See, I want that, but I want a clip of him pulling a mech out, like it's Ironcaster's face, and he's pulling a mech out.
I gotta build a tree.
Is it a spoopy tree?
It is.
What is this for?
Oh, just little terrain. We gotta have some spooky. We can't just have all these
spooky trees.
We can't just have all these little minis fighting on a blank piece of paper. We gotta put little trees and houses up, and we gotta actually make them like move around stuff.
It's awesome.
But it's
well. Let me tell you, it is. I think it's awesome. So, folks, I got like a week's worth of content already out there for you members. So tons of clips, which is involved from some of our longer shows, and been able to do some fun throwback stuff over the last couple weeks to kick off the year. So it's been a really rewarding time doing the old YouTubes, talking about cool stuff with cool people, including my daughter. Doing content with her has really been a big surprise. I'll be honest. There's no bigger thrill than being able to spend extra time with your kids, especially when they're adults and have so much going on. So the fact that she still wants to do it with me was pretty cool. So be doing another one with her here soon. But I said it before, and I am not in this, and hopefully all of you guys know that I'm not into this for clicks and views and money or whatever. It doesn't pay my mortgage or anything like that. However, that notwithstanding, yesterday I crossed my 3 millionth view, and that's pretty wild. And sure, Smokey and the Bandit and Buford T. Justice and all that stuff kind of pulls along the view count, because obviously that stuff's like got 1.5 million or 2, whatever it is, but it pulls along, especially the older stuff. Like I'll do new videos and they're like have no views yet at all, like nothing. If you're view counting or you're counting that, you're just going to go insane and give up, because it doesn't work like that. But I look at things over time. I think Johnny Dangerously Ironcaster is getting close to 9,000. Ong Bak, which was one of our 2022 talk cards, is like well over 20 something thousand views. So people watched it, people engaged and commented, and that's pretty cool, man. That's why we do this. And we've had some great conversations and fun times, and doing more shorts has made that fun for me now too, because it's like a great way to go in and see little snippets and stuff like that we talked about, and listen to SQUEEKA laugh, and listen to LOKI rant, and listen to Ironcaster plead for another shark movie, or it makes it all rewarding. So I just wanted to end with that sort of like thank you to everybody, you guys here on the panel and everybody out there, and anyone watching tomorrow or next week, next month, next year, whatever, because this is like a nerd's dream, that we could just find other nerds to talk about stuff with, and people will care. So I had lunch with
even if they rate your movie 7.5.
Yeah. Well, SQUEEKA, tell you what.
I'm kidding.
SQUEEKA, I tell you what. I think it might be time for us to go revisit another one of my favorite movies.
What's that?
I don't know how you're feeling about it, Pops, but I kind of want to go rewatch The Gamers and get SQUEEKA's opinion on it for a D&D movie.
The Gamers? Oh, I feel like I've seen that. Have I seen that? That sounds familiar. That sounds so familiar.
I think we talked about
it. Does not look familiar at all.
Does the
2002?
phrase
No, I haven't seen that.
SQUEEKA, does the phrase "hide behind the pile of dead bars" mean anything to you?
Is this like that other
Nope.
one where they did the gaming one that we watched?
About the D&D game, yes.
Yeah, it's the same
Nope.
kind of thing.
We've
Not
talked about
familiar.
it before, but I want SQUEEKA to watch it.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see. We have a very nice packed schedule coming up, by the way, which is really cool because it's nice to have. It's all February scheduled, so folks check the schedule. Feel free to earmark those. Leave me a comment in advance. I did reach out to a guest about joining us for one of those. Louise Sparrow is set to be with us next week. She'll be back with us for Never Ending Story, so that'll be super cool to have her with us again. She's always amazing to spend time with. And of course, we run through and I don't know how anybody wants to admit it. SQUEEKA is going to share with us her first time watching Highlander. You know how many times Highlander has been brought up on the show, and we've all been like, no, we'll get to it when we get to it. And we had to wait till the anniversary. So it's the 40th
I
anniversary.
had to wait. You know, even my friends were like, "Hey, look, it's Highlander," and I'm like, "I can't watch that. Turn it off. Turn it off."
Yeah. So there can only be one, and we will definitely be talking about that. And then we head into March, which will kick off of it. And I don't think I've ever done it, IRONCASTER, which I know there's been a lot of references, and I did a couple of videos maybe back when House of Dragons started or something, maybe, but just no real Lord of the Rings content on my channel. Like, it's really kind of the biggest franchise or IP that I love that I just haven't done videos on, and I don't even know why. It just hasn't worked out that way. So we're going to do that whole trilogy, and it's going to be a blast to there's no way we're going to do it. Yeah, we're going to do all 3 movies. One a week. I know how. I warned you about how long they are and how you're going to have to figure out how to get ahead of the game, I think, in my opinion. I know I am. I've already watched 2 Towers once, so I'm going to start watching them relatively soon so that I've kind of watched them all. And
yeah, I've seen them all, so it wouldn't be a first watch.
I went and saw Fellowship Friday.
Oh, awesome. That's cool. Yeah, I saw it pop up on my alert from Regal one, doing something back in cinemas, but Mrs. isn't going to go. She's not going to do that, but it'll be fun. It'll be fun to have those conversations about it. But I had lunch with my son, and we were talking about those, and he had never seen the Dollar trilogy, which is the Westerns from Clint Eastwood, which is,
the what?
Fistful of Dollars. It's called Fistful of Dollars, A Few Dollars More, and The Good, Bad, and the Ugly. It's the famous Westerns from Clint Eastwood. It's a trilogy movie. And I said, that's the only trilogy that you can argue is as good or better than Lord of the Rings, because each movie gets better in that Western series. I'm in the camp that likes 2 Towers over Return of the King. So I kind of lean more into, and we're having nerd talk. And my wife just sat there like, I think she picked up her phone for the first time in the conversation, because I was like, yeah, we're nerd talking for a minute. So had a good run. Get ready for Talk Hard.
We gotta get one of those movies on the list for next year.
Yeah, that's a tricky one to figure out how to fit them in and work, because they kind of work together, and they also are not related. It's a very interesting film series, if you will. So, but man, it's been great doing this. It's just an absolute blast. Thanks to all you in chat. You guys are amazing. And Loki was fine, by the way. Nothing weird going on. Just got caught up with work. Couldn't make it. And but folks, he'll be back with us. We'll be back, and we'll be having a good time next week talking about Never Ending Story. So continuing our fantasy adventure sort of theme, if you will, before we get into some other stuff. So, but folks, have a good one. Be blessed. Talk hard. Until next time, I'm Pops.
Thank you.
I'm Ross. All I do is chill. My life is a thrill, for real, Bob Ross. I be too calm for the drama. You don't wanna cause a problem.